Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you being here. I know it's a long day and a lot of Zooming. So, unless there's a happy hour coming up, I don't think you want to be on after this, right? My name is Anaida Colón Muñiz, and I'm affiliated with Chapman University in Orange, in the city of Orange. I retired recently in April, just after COVID's big push. And my story is about a center that I developed in downtown Santa Ana while I was a professor at Chapman University. And I have a lot of pictures, so it's very visual for you to entertain and also give you a better view of what it would look like inside. Um, and to inspire people to do these types of initiatives because they really do matter. I was there for 7 years, and it was a wonderful opportunity to be with community, to be with the parents and the children and teachers, artists, authors. And it's a wonderful space that I'd like to share with you. Hopefully, this is something that will inspire you to connect your university with your teacher ed programs, with the parents in the community, with the schools that you might be working in. So I'm going to go ahead and start so that we don't waste any time. I'm hoping to have a few minutes at the end for um, for questions. So this is the title. It's a university's effort to engage in community education, Centro Comunitario. And I'm going to continue on with the next slide. So the presentation is going to tell you a little bit about this university effort to engage the Latinx community and families through viable programs that we did in a community center in downtown Santa Ana, right on, I don't know if you're familiar with Santa Ana, but right on Broadway between 2nd and 3rd Street. It was an effort to initiate linkages with teacher education, with community-based organizations, with local artists and businesses and different agencies, including, of course, the schools and other universities. So this is a detailed portfolio with a lot of slides and pictures to show you what it looked like and the kinds of activities that we engaged in. And hopefully will inspire other institutions of higher education, community agencies, family members, and schools to collaborate in this sort of an activity. So it does have some theoretical foundations in the sense that we engage in community education, which has a strong link to what we call social pedagogy or teaching in the social realm, in which communities that are able to can participate in child rearing and education practices in ways that can help their own community and manage their own lives and make changes in their own circumstances. Along with that, it's foundational to see critical pedagogy playing a role in that. With critical pedagogy, we know that it's about addressing oppressive conditions that might exist in schools and in communities and how we could mitigate those problems that are affecting children and their communities. And all of this is, of course, foundational to community education, which is informal learning. It's learning outside of the schools and doing social development work with individuals and groups and communities, and tapping the knowledge that people bring and the skills and building on the organizational ability and resources that might exist. And this, of course, shows that community education links well with both critical pedagogy and social pedagogy, even in the United States. In defining that, Warren and Mapp in 2011 said these centers play a critical role in serving the social, cultural, political, intellectual, artistic, and personal development needs of residents in their local communities to enhance their well-being, some filling gaps that were neglected by traditional schools and mainstream schooling. So we see that, these community centers play a big role in communities. So let's look at the context of Santa Ana. We can see Santa Ana has lots of challenges, right? I mean, it's a community that is the 12th largest city in California, has a population of over 300,000. It's primarily Latinx with most people speaking Spanish or another language other than English, but primarily Spanish. It has a high poverty rate and significant enough crime rate to affect the lives of the people in this community. The per capita income is relatively low, and the student population, of course, is like 96% Hispanic. So with an 88% free lunch. So it's a community that has plenty of challenges, but also a very rich source of culture and energy and positiveness that I really loved working there. When we talk about critical pedagogy, one of the things we understand is known as limit situations. Limit situations are barriers that sometimes are put forth because of low levels of literacy, and by literacy, or limited access to cultural enrichment and resources, to technology, to literature, visual and performing arts. All of those things limit people's potential. Also, limit situations is limitations to higher ed. Too much exposure to violence and other social distractors. And of course, what we know as cultural hegemony, which is really a linguistic displacement, like trying to take the language of the community and replace it with English only. And that's something that is very challenging. So those are some of the things that affect the context of Santa Ana. And Chapman, on the other hand, is not in the city of Santa Ana, it's in the city of Orange. It's a small private university that for many years served primarily middle class and higher income populations of students. And about 10 years ago, we started engaging in a more vigorous diversity effort to recruit students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, more students of color. And in that process, we sort of came to be. So what is important in this is something that I tagged as a nexus for community schools and teacher education, a place where you could say this is a center that is connected to schools, but different from schools. It's in a space in downtown where people are bustling, hustling and bustling, going to and from work and shopping and going to restaurants. And so it's not in a school that is closed in to a certain degree. It's very open. This allows for some threads of critical pedagogy in that the practices of the community are embedded in and integrated in everything that happens in that space. And this allows for the development of a sense of agency about people's lives and saying, we're in this together. We have a shared humanity. We can build things and do things together. And so I think that schools and universities really stand to benefit from establishing these stronger partnerships with community educations and getting into centers such as the one that we formed in Santa Ana that I like to call a nexus. Looking at what is a nexus? Well, a nexus, according to Merriam-Webster, is a connection, a link, the way that in a positive way we try to do between teachers and students, or it could also be a causal link that is a problem, like between poverty and crime. So we want to get less of the nexus between poverty and crime and more a connection between teachers and students and relationships, connecting a group or a series as in building those relationships. And the third definition's a center, a focus. Our community center became something of a nexus for the downtown neighborhood of Santa Ana. We went in 3 phases. The first phase in 2013, we took over a bookstore that was in downtown Santa Ana, and it also had a gallery of art. And we thought we could start by initiating sales of the books while also beginning some community-based programs. But we found that book sales I wasn't trained to be a salesperson, and neither was the community prepared to, do that sort of work. And the university was certainly not prepared because they had their own bookstore. So we decided in 2016 to rededicate the space only for community education and to take all of the books that were for sale, that were mostly by Latino authors, for different purposes, and repurpose them to become like a library, a community library. And so it became a different kind of a space downtown for people to come in, read, and learn. And so in the third phase in 2017, we actually were adopted by the provost office for a bigger purpose. Instead of the College of Education, we became part of the university's initiative on diversity. And that happened until 2020 when the center closed. Its mission was to be in partnership with local agencies and to realize the educational aspirations of Orange County students and their families by promoting literacy and offering relevant educational programs and community events. So we have multiple goals to provide these educational programs all the way from pre-kinder, uh, preschool, all the way through teens and into adulthood to benefit the students and the faculty also, so that our faculty and our students from the university could also benefit in terms of their engagement in civic activities downtown, and to collaborate with local schools and other community-based organizations in helping to meet those needs. So these were the four programs. One is called Reading Starts Early. It was connected to the El Sol Science and Arts Academy, which is a dual language school. And also with Padres Unidos, we connected with parents as teachers in their early childhood program. Teen mentoring was another program that we engaged in, and also we had lots of community events. So in looking at those, we can see that there are multiple areas of support. You can look on the right, educational support through the enrichment and literacy activities we did, through the tutoring that we did, cultural support through reinforcement and acknowledgement of the traditions of the community, and of Santa Ana, of Mexico, of other Latino groups, and visual and performing arts, honoring the artists in our community, those the poets, the people who were engaged in dance. And then, of course, social emotional support through mentorship and friendship that was developed in the site. So not only did it benefit Santa Ana students and community, but it benefited the Chapman students to become more familiar with what it was to be downtown Santa Ana. For many, downtown was, oh, Santa Ana. They came from more middle class, urban, suburban neighborhoods, and sometimes were like, well, I don't know if I want to go downtown. So this demystified downtown. It let them know this is a vibrant community with lots of artistic things going on, with lots of people, and our kids and the schools where you'll probably wind up teaching live here. So it was a great opportunity for them to become familiar with downtown Santa Ana and to understand how to engage with children in these different community spaces, not just in a classroom. Also, it gave them the chance to be creative, to design programs, to engage with families, and to learn to interact with parents and the teachers from the different schools. In summary, by 2020, we had done quite a bit. We benefited over 3,000 community members and faculty and students at Chapman, where at least 1,500 students, preschool through second grade, participated in pre-literacy and literacy programs. And we gave through a foundation 7,000 bilingual books through backpacks every year. Sets of backpacks were given to children to take home so they could read at home. And we also developed a parent guide in Spanish and English for them to use. 60 teens and 60 university students engaged in mentorship. And that was a wonderful program where the Chapman students were helping the students from Santa Ana to explore careers and ideas for going to college and build friendships. And other high school students would just come by and study because we had free Wi-Fi and would be able to sit in groups and meet and do school assignments. We also engaged over 1,500 community members through reading clubs and educational and artistic events, helping with literacy and supporting some of the pre-service teachers as well as in-service teachers in a variety of programs and activities that we held there. And then, of course, there were scholarly presentations, book signings, art shows, many different university-sponsored events as well. So this is the center itself. You could see this is the doorway with the children from El Sol Science and Arts Academy as they would walk down to, which is only like a 10-minute walk, and spend an hour or so with me and with our university students, and then walk back. So this reading program was supported by the Klein Foundation, And as I mentioned, the children from El Sol Academy, and also with children who were in the Padres Unidos early parent education program, were benefiting from this particular Reading Starts Early program. And so we were able to complete the 7th year at the center with the preschoolers engaged in a lot of reading enjoyment, having books, as I mentioned, over 1,500 of them. It expanded later to TK and kinder, and even up to 2nd grade, but primarily it was preschoolers who participated. Kids also were involved on Saturdays and in the summer. And so there was a lot happening with reading and singing and finger play and movement, and we just had a great time. And the pre-service teachers also came and read aloud to the kids, and parents got to read aloud to the kids. And at the end of the year, all the preschoolers got medals that were scholar medals from Chapman, and backpacks with the bilingual books to continue reading through the summer. So you could see both the parent and student engagement in some of these photos here, in front of Centro, a father reading to a child. So sometimes we had dads, not just moms. It was mostly moms, but we did capture, fathers who were interested in reading to the kids and coming along, and of course our students. And you can see, particularly for our students, it was a great benefit as they were learning how to employ the different strategies they were learning at the university, with the children, to ask important questions, to engage them with books, to capture their interests, and to turn them on to reading. So you could see the students from Chapman also felt like they gained a lot. They said doing this field work, it was extremely beneficial. We discuss all these things in classrooms, but here we're able to actually engage with the children and practice ourselves. She said, as a college student, it's very easy to get cut off in all things college, and these field work experiences really put things into perspectives. We're able to see and understand the importance of what we're learning in our classes. I wish I had more time in my schedule to do more read aloud reading, because it's not only good practice and the children enjoy it, but I think it's a lot of fun. So you could see that there was that super duper engagement. The children, felt free. They weren't locked into a little chair where and table where they kind of couldn't move around. Here they were on the floor. You could see they're very, very comfortable and fully engaged in the reading. And the students absolutely loved reading to them as well. You could see the faces of the children. And then of course the parents got to read as well. So we really encouraged the parents. Some of them sat on the floor, on the tables. They were able to sit and read to the kids, and they were watching me as I was doing it first, and then I would divide them into little groups, and they would be able to engage in reading themselves. So these are some of the parents with the kids as they were walking back to the school, because that was the practice that they had coming down. We also had Chapman employees whose kids were in the dual language program, and they got to visit and just loved it. They said, I enjoyed myself at Centro. As a Chapman employee, it gives me great pleasure to see the wonderful things Chapman is doing. And as a parent, it gives me great joy to see my kids being exposed to rich experiences. So you could see that they were very excited about the program, as well as the kids getting a medal at the end of the year. And this Marisol Redondo said, today the Youth Scholar Medal, tomorrow the Presidential Medal of Freedom, a mom can dream. And so it's just like a really energetic, positive place. You can see the children reading here themselves. Sometimes they read on their own because it was just fun. And we made the books available, lots of multicultural books for them to be able to access. So you could see in here as well, the children reading on their own. And they could come any time of day during the hours that we were open, or on the weekends. So it was very beneficial for them. The Padres Unidos program was special in that we had a partnership with Padres Unidos, and they brought their preschool children with the parents. And so there was a lot of interaction between parents, moms, dads, and their children. And they were teaching them about talking to your children, communicating, promoting the physical environment at home, and emotional environment that where the kids can flourish. A lot of these kids had not gone to preschool, so it was important for them to be in this kind of a space and develop readiness skills while the parents were also learning how to, just be better parents. And so this was a really great part of the program. And you could see some of the, even the younger kids, younger than 3, were coming in with their parents, and parents were learning to listen to the kids and explain things to the kids and celebrate. Because at the end of the year, as I mentioned earlier, we had a big celebration where everybody the kids got to graduate, the parents got to graduate. We gave them the backpacks with all the books, they got to eat. So it was a big and fun celebration. So here are the parents graduating. Many of these parents had not graduated from high school. And so for them, this was like such a happy time, and they felt so accomplished with their children as well. So you could see some of the photos. Here's the medal that the children got. Our faculty also were very involved. We had some faculty coming in to read to kids. We had, this is Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, who brought a whole busload of students to come and do mentoring with our students. And of course, there I am reading to the kids. We also connected parents and Chapman faculty, for example, in sessions like this one, where we did a lot of goal setting and exploration of ideas. And by the way, you can see some of the art in the center and the back. Our teen mentoring program was for Santa Ana High students, primarily from the high school, Santa Ana High and Henninger. It was a way of creating a pipeline for the students to eventually go into higher ed, hopefully Chapman, but of course not all. Many of them are going to go to other colleges. But we were able to encourage the students and engage in a lot of different activities while they also participated in civic engagement in their own communities. You could see them here. Luckily, one of the counselors was an alumna of Chapman, and so she used to bring the students, and we got them all T-shirts and certificates as well. This is just a couple of shots of the students engaged together in mentoring. We also did an activity or series of activities with community-based organizations. I'm part of the National Conference of Puerto Rican Women, and we did mentoring for moms and daughters a couple of years in a row. And you could see here where we're with the mothers, with the children. Some of our Chapman bilingual teachers, teacher ed students were doing a panel for the youth. So that's the kinds of things that we engaged in. We also had events that were for the adults in the community, literary events and artistic events. We also had classes for Spanish as a second language, English as a second language, through our collaboration with Santa Ana College and the university, the district office personnel. We also had book clubs such as Las Comadres, Huella Literaria, and lots of book signings and scholarly events as well. So you could see here one activity that was done through Chapman, which was celebrating Mexico, and this was an annual event that we engaged in. So I don't know if you could see this, Heart of Mexico. So I just wanted to point out this little girl while the father is reading his poem. She's here reading her books. I thought it was so cool. Anyway, you could see these are community people from Santa Ana area or Orange County area in general that write their poems, are publishing their own books, are engaging in all sorts of literary activities, and it was really fun. And of course, here we have some of our scholars from the university, our doc students, and our professors. Here's Lilia Monceau, and they were sharing their research during that time as well. So many different kinds of activities going on, as you can see, where we connected with other universities, with the district personnel, with community members, with community-based organizations. And if you really take a look at these pictures, I spent hours looking at these different photos because I took thousands of pictures. You can, over the years, 7 years, there were certain patterns that emerged. For one, of course, we primarily served the Latinx community, and most of the adult participants were women. Most of the children, of course, were mixed, but many of the Chapman students were women. And faculty was both male and female. Literacy development, mentorship, and relationship building were key to Centro's work. Participants from both Santa Ana and Chapman really enjoyed being together and learning from each other. It wasn't just a one way, it was a two-way experience. And many parents, the parents were varied in terms of experiences. Some were more professional, some were community individuals who, experienced poverty. So we had a lot of big range in terms of the socioeconomic backgrounds of parents as well. People felt very comfortable in this space. People of all ages came and participated. There was a lot of face-to-face communication and sharing, and not so much of everybody being on their phones and computers. That was one thing. Even though we helped people with technology and with computers, you could see that people were really engaged in being with each other. That led to a lot of personal growth and development, confidence, self-esteem building, engagement. And there was just a sense of nurturing in this location. So we found that people were happy when they came to Centro Comunitario. And, you can see that I felt really happy that over the 7 years, we were able to serve the community of Santa Ana, the parents, the children, others in the community. We serve the Chapman community as well, the faculty, the students, the staff. We really try to reflect the definition of what community education is in downtown Santa Ana. And unfortunately, came April 2020, Chapman closed the doors of downtown Central when I retired, upon my retirement in May. And it was very sad for me, and we were all very sad because we felt, why isn't the university supporting this anymore? But I guess, in the long run, with the way COVID took over a whole year of our lives, and it's almost a year now, anniversary of that closure, they made the decision. They would have had to spend many, many thousands of dollars to pay the rent to keep Central open. So I was very saddened by that and disappointed, but we have Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, he was the one who was going to take over when I retired. So now he's reinstating some efforts to go into phase 4 and collaborate with Santa Ana College and to have some space on their campus to continue the programs for the children and the adults that we had developed, and do more and different kinds of things that are under his interest as well. So overall, I'm hopeful that it continues to grow and that we get a chance to really rebuild Centro even in a new space. I highly encourage universities to create these types of spaces to building community education in order to really make that connection, that nexus between the schools and the communities that we serve as educators. And I think that really makes a huge difference in the kind of support children are getting, not only in school, but out of school, because education happens everywhere. It doesn't just happen in the 4 walls of a classroom or in a school. It happens every day in the communities where our children live. And that's really important that we continue to nurture that. So you could see their faces. It was a happy time for them to be at Centro Comunitario. And I thank you very much for listening. I think we actually made it 2 minutes early. I rushed a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're right at the 10-minute mark. So we do have 10 minutes for questions. If anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or either raise your hand and we can go ahead and get started with that.
So I'm happy to explain more of any part of the programs or to just answer any questions you might have. Or at least comment. What do you think about it? Don't be shy. We have quite a group. Yeah. Good information, Lourdes said. Yeah, maybe there's something on the chat. Let me check the chat. Is there anything that has anybody had experience similar to this or can share an initiative that in their own communities or your own communities where you've seen that kind of connection between the schools and the university and community-based organization, or is this something different. Pueden hablar en español o en inglés. ¿Hay alguna persona que ha tenido algo parecido? Sí, Lourdes.
Primeramente quiero dar las gracias por esta información porque en este CABE nos están dando un poco más de información. Somos padres del distrito de Garden Grove, pero también soy una mamá involucrada en mi comunidad y quiero agradecer realmente por este tipo de información porque de esta forma podemos nosotros, en el caso mío, yo tengo un hijo en la high school en el distrito de Garden Grove. Entonces, nos ayuda a nosotros como padres a poder ver las opciones y poder esclarecer un poco más realmente a qué es lo que nuestros jóvenes desean prácticamente ellos llevar a cabo, si una universidad o un colegio comunitario. Esa es una de las cosas que yo creo que como nosotros como padres es necesario que nosotros nos involucremos, aunque ellos van a ir a una universidad, pero nosotros vamos a como a traerle esas herramientas para que ellos como jóvenes puedan trabajar esas herramientas y puedan prácticamente explorar esas herramientas. Me gusta mucho esta información. Gracias por el distrito de Garden Grove, porque ellos nos dan la oportunidad, primeramente a nosotros como padres líderes del distrito, poder tomar estos talleres, pero también a poderlo llevar a nuestros jóvenes, a nuestras comunidades, a nuestras iglesias, a nuestras mismas escuelas, a nuestro distrito. Soy mamá que actualmente estoy estudiando lo que es la high school, aunque mi hijo está en la high school en la bolsa, pero estoy estudiando en la escuela Lincoln Education como padre. Estoy tratando de demostrarle a mi hijo que sí se puede terminar una high school y ¿cómo se llama? Es muy importante como padres
Claro.
valorar este tiempo más que
Claro.
nada, porque el
Y,
tiempo
y,
es lo que lo va a decir todo.
y también que hagan contacto con las universidades, que visiten las universidades, que no temen ir a ver cómo es ese espacio tan distinto a la escuela, a la high school, porque así pueden también quizás conocer estudiantes y buscar los medios para que tengan un contacto, una relación con estudiantes universitarios para que vayan conociendo cómo es esto que es la universidad y cómo es qué carreras puedo explorar. Es sumamente importante que tengamos oportunidades para intercambios, platicar, visitarnos y tener esa relación, porque no solamente es tener una entidad que se llama la escuela, otra entidad que se llama la universidad y otra que se llama centros en la
Comunitario.
comunidad como centros comunitarios y que vivan separados. Debe haber momentos de integración, de que todo el mundo pueda tener oportunidad de conocerse. Y de ahí pueden nacer muchos programas y muchas ideas.
Y lo que me ha gustado más que nada estar involucrada en el distrito de Garden Grove es que hemos podido ir como por ejemplo a las universidades. Hemos estado en la Universidad de Long Beach, hemos podido estar en la Universidad de Fontaine Valley, del UCI. Entonces, y poder escuchar a esos jóvenes que están dentro de la universidad, poder escuchar los testimonios que ellos nos dan, porque eso es lo real. Escuchar los testimonios de esos jóvenes que están estudiando en la universidad. Es bueno involucrarse como padres, sacar su tiempo y poder, más que nada, poder apoyar a nuestros jóvenes porque
Claro que
ellos son el futuro.
exactamente, pues muchas gracias. ¿Alguna otra persona tiene un comentario o una pregunta? Anybody else have a comment or a question? I think when we were sharing with Lourdes is, the importance of the students, high school students getting out and getting into universities and being able to have that exchange. And my point also is that they should not be separate entities. We all live in a community and our children live in a whole community, and yet we separate them and we pull them in different directions with these different agencies and programs. But there need to be places where they come together because learning happens everywhere. Education is something that happens outside the walls of the university, of the schools, as well as outside the walls of the university. And so if your school has an opportunity to interact with a university program, a teacher ed program, to do tutoring or to do mentoring, those are ways to begin that kind of exchange and to build those relationships across different levels and different agencies. Going into community-based organization in your downtown, in the cities where you might reside, and asking them, do you have any programs where you have tutoring or where you have mentorship programs for the students, or where parents can come and work and learn with their children, or come and read. A lot of the libraries have some programs like that, but we need to, get involved in those so that they can get better and they can be more integrated with the schools. I find that a lot of times there are lots of great programs going on all separately, and a lot of people don't know about them. And you don't even have great attendance sometimes because they're not even aware at the schools, perhaps, that the library is offering a particular program, or an author's coming to visit, or there's a reading program on the weekend. So, it's about stretching out and making those contacts to really try to build those community relations. And build
I
that.
see that, I'm sorry, and I see that Lily has a question.
Oh, sorry, Lily.
No, it's okay.
Hi, Dr. Anaida Colón-Muñiz. It's me, Lily Serrano from Santa Ana Unified.
Hi, how are you? Great I don't see you, but I hear you.
Yes, because I'm here in my kitchen. I just wanted to say that Dr. Colón-Muñiz has always been very passionate about bilingualism and the parents, and teaching with the student teachers as well. And you're greatly loved at Santa Ana Unified. And I also brought along my our new director for the English Learner Programs, Dr. Sergio Chavez. He's on here as well to see your presentation.
Oh, thank you.
I just wanted to say hi, and we love your presentations.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I always have Santa Ana in my heart.
Yes.
And so a lot of my students have become teachers in Santa Ana and administrators in Santa Ana, and it's just wonderful to continue to have those relationships. And even though I am retired, I'm still active somewhat in the community doing different programs. But
congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you. After 50 years, I figured it was time, right?
Well, your passion, I can see it still continues.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to hear your voice.
Same.
And you said, and I don't see the gentleman you were, there are so many pages here, I can't see.
Oh, I think is he still on?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, there you are. Dr.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing?
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure hearing you. So it's the job that we do never ends, right? So even though you may have retired in one aspect, in another we keep going, right?
That's right.
So everything that we do affects 7 generations from now.
That's right.
And I'm sure that you've planted a lot of seeds, and for that I'm very grateful.
Thank
so
you.
Yeah, Lily speaks very highly of you. So and we all hold her in very high regard. So if she's good with you, guess what? Everybody else is good with you. So it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Pleasure
And keep up the struggle.
Thank you. Thank you. And hopefully you'll be able to meet Dr. Jorge Rodriguez, who is the one who will be reaching out to develop these programs further through Santa Ana College and in collaboration with Santa Ana College, because now we have like a program where Santa Ana College students who want to become teachers can then transfer over to Chapman.
Yes, and we're trying to bring ethnic studies, and part of the component of ethnic studies is un enlace, no, with Santa Ana College. Absolutely. And so most definitely have him reach out, and we will receive him in open arms.
I will definitely do that.
Okay, pues gracias y mucho gusto.
Gracias. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
I know you have a big
Thank you so much. And last thing, somebody requested, if you don't mind, to put your email address in the chat if you'd like them to contact you.
Put it in the chat.
It's up to you. It was unless you wanted to do it directly.
Yeah, I'm still emeritus at Chapman, so You can still reach me at my Chapman address. So there it is, acolon@chapman.edu.
Oh, I don't think you sent it to everybody unless you want.
Oh, did I just send it to you?
No, I didn't receive it, so I don't know who you.
Oh, everyone in meeting. I sent it to them. Okay. There you go.
Perfect. So acolon@chapman.edu.
Acolon.
And then we really want to thank everybody for joining us on our day 4 of CABE's 2021 virtual conference, our first virtual conference. We're going to take our 10-minute break before you enter into the closing session. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for our final day. Thank you so much, Dr. Colon.
Thank you. I'm applauding
Thank
you
everybody.
all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Bye-bye. Have a wonderful afternoon and evening. Take care. Bye-bye.